Hi, it's Marc Stevens, author of Government Indicted and website markstevens.net. The radio show is the No State Project, live every Saturday from 4 to 7 Eastern Standard Time on LRN.FM. You can click the links over here to get some local affiliates that to carry the show in your area. And I want to talk about this latest call of shame. Just I posted this a few days, about a week ago, but I wanted to get a screen video of this. One of the stupidest things that I've ever had said to me. Now, I know the agent on the phone is just a low-level employee for the Internal Revenue Service. It's not actually this guy who's the Commissioner of Internal Revenue, but it still fit. And since I'm never going to get a copy of a picture, and since he's acting on this guy's behalf, but asking for evidence, and he snaps back at me, "Do you? How?" Again, like I wrote in the article, it's not really a very sophisticated way to shift the burden. It's just kind of a douche move, but hey, that's what you expect from people like this, these government types. The IRS, a terrorist organization, and I say that because they use violence and threats of violence to accomplish political means, and so that there would be terrorism, and of course, criminals also. But what I do here, and I'll play the entire call of shame also after this, but I just briefly go through some of these stupid tactics that these use, where basically it's kind of a straw man fallacy, where you deliberately misstate somebody's position as a way of either defeating your particular argument or evading a question, which is what the agent was doing here. And it's just ridiculous. You're saying that he doesn't have to file or pay taxes because it only like corporations that are supposed to be assessed a tax or something like that? Obviously, he is referring to one of the many frivolous arguments, which are typically legal issues or legal arguments as opposed to questions or issues of fact, which is, of course, what I was asking him, which I always recommend that people do, is to just stick to issues of fact. And of course, we have flipping the burden, which again, that's what we just went through. It's just ridiculous. Another common one: if you discuss anything for any length of time with these government types, and you are trying to stay rational and actually get to the evidence that their claims are based on, they're going to do this. This is they call your question an argument. You'll hear them do this all the time when you go to the call of shames. It's just a douche move, and that's that's what the criminals do. They don't have any evidence, so how do you distract from the lack of evidence? Oh, okay, just be a dishonest scumbag and call your question an argument, and therefore you magically don't have to answer the question. All of a sudden, just calling a question an argument relieves you of your burden of proof. Not true unless you're one of these douchebags. So the next one is circular logic or begging the question. And so when you're asking for evidence the code applies, they will reply sometimes it's written in the code. You have the interpretation in the code. And all they're really saying here, and we have evidence where they're saying this dozens and dozens of times, it's circular logic, that the code applies because the code says so. And basically what they're saying is that words or rules written by the government types, these criminals, that they're magical. They're magic. We wrote it down. We said it applies. And for no other reason, they apply. Don't buy it. Stick to your questioning and just point out. And you can ask them the question. Wouldn't that be circular logic to say it applies because it says it applies? Wouldn't it? It's begging the question. Where's your evidence it applies in the first place? And then this, again, number 5 is related to number 3, of course. I'm not going to argue with you, which is just a douche move to avoid answering a question. That's exactly what it is. So don't fall for it. And then they start getting into, like you'll hear in a few minutes, they start attacking my so-called authority. Now, we've already gotten a third-party authorization, which is why this Internal Revenue agent, one of these criminals, is speaking to me in the first place on this call. We've already cleared the third-party authorization, so he's in deep, deep trouble. I'm not allowing him to get away with his fallacies, so he has to go for the authority dodge. Are you authorized to... So that's why you'll hear him talk over me. I'm saying that the client or the customer or the friend of mine, this guy I'm helping, I say you can ask him, you can ask the government type the question directly, and then the issue of authority is moot, even if it had any merit to begin with, which it did not. So watch out for these common tactics, dishonest douche moves that people like this use, and just call them on it. Stick to your Socratic method. Continue pressing the questions on the evidence, their laws, evidence proving their laws apply, because these government types, they're just criminals. They're men and women who force us to pay them, and there is no proof, of course, that their laws are constitutions and ordinances and bylaws or rules. No evidence they apply to anyone, and this particular call is just one of many objective examples and of evidence that we have to prove that. If you disagree and you think that there is evidence proving the Constitution and laws apply to us because we're physically in North America or physically in Canada, wherever it happens to be, then please feel free to call into a live broadcast of the No State Project and present your evidence. I would love to hear it. We could also record a show. So looking forward to hearing from that, though I will not be holding my breath because we know there is no evidence. But I'm more than willing to give you the opportunity to present what you think is evidence. Again, my name is Marc Stevens. No State Project live every Saturday from 4 to 7 Eastern Standard Time. We may not return a phone call.
That's not what we do here. That's not why. It's just at the time it comes to us, the taxpayers had many notices that have been issued. And our problem is, well, why hasn't been rectified?
Okay. Yeah, and that's from your side. Your company, your agency is not responding. You're not picking up the call. You're not responding to the letters. Your computer just goes on.
Let me ask you this. Why does the taxpayer owe year after year?
Well, you see, that's part of the problem. His name is... It's not been proven that there's any evidence that your Constitution laws apply to him and that there's jurisdiction to require a return or the payment of taxes. That's something we have a long-standing record on. You guys assume that because he's physically in California that your laws apply to him, and we want evidence to show that that's true, and no one's able to provide that. So instead of doing the right thing and either providing the evidence and we can move on, or stopping this from escalating until such a time as you can provide the evidence, and that's our problem. You guys are running on
You're saying that he doesn't have to, he doesn't have to file and pay taxes because it's only that corporations are supposed to be assessed a tax or something like that?
No, I've given you my position. The position is you guys believe, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, that just because he's physically in California,
those are what the lawmakers are that have put this stuff in. Well, we do only implement the laws that are made in the United States.
Yeah, you guys believe that because he's physically in California, your laws apply, and my issue is we have not.
Well, what laws are you talking about?
Your Constitution and laws. Your entire.
That's the United States. That's not mine. That's the United States. That's if you live here, you follow the laws. If you live in a different country, you follow their laws, right? If you don't like how the laws are written here, you don't live here.
You see,
perfectly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
I understand.
Right? You choose to go live in a different country, you follow their laws. You go live in a different country like the Philippines, and you get double tax, triple tax. You don't like it, you go to jail over there.
Well, yeah, I know. If you don't want to pay me, I understand how Paulie works.
But those are we just implement the laws. Those are laws set by the United States and the Congress. You don't like it, then you don't live here. There's a simple resolution.
No, my question.
You can't have the benefits of both. You can't have the benefits of both. You can't say, well, I want to live here in benefits of not following the laws. It's wrong.
You get the benefit
completely wrong.
of Al Capone's alcohol, or you. My question though is, since you seem to agree that just because he lives in California, the Constitution laws apply. Do you have any proof that that's true?
Do you?
I'm not the one making the argument. You just did.
I'm just following the law. That's what's in the.
You said if you live here, and I understand that's your argument. Do you have your?
No, I said if you live in the United States, you follow the law. Not just if you live in California. If you live in, just like, hey, can you you follow the law? Do you run red lights?
The question is.
That's the law.
What
right?
evidence
that's
do you have just because he's physically here in the U.S. that the Constitution laws apply to him?
That's something you'd have to raise further and further, but it's an argument that's never going to get.
It's not
an argument. I've been doing this a long time. If the taxpayer's on the line, it's an argument he's not going to ever win, and
Felix?
I've seen it. I've seen it happen.
I asked you a question. Don't insult us by reframing it and saying it's an argument. Yes or no to a question, not an argument. Do you have any evidence to show that just because he's physically in the U.S. that the Constitution laws apply to him?
That we have the code. We have to look at the tax code. And I'm sure there's something in there that says the Secretary Treasurer and all. It's all interpretation.
No, that's an issue of law that you're talking about. I'm talking about an issue of fact. Your argument is that if he lives or if he's physically in the U.S., your Constitution laws apply. Now, yes or no only, do you have any evidence to show that that claim is true?
As far as
yes or no, do you have evidence to support your claim that because he's physically in the U.S., the Constitution and laws apply to him?
Well, it's written in the code. You have the interpretation of the code.
That's not, you're not answering the question. Is it your position that the code?
I'm not gonna argue with you because I went through all this kind of stuff. I mean, you're not even representing the taxpayer. I mean, you have to. Yeah.
You're avoiding the question. No one's arguing.
Well, because you're not even an enrolled agent.
What is that?
What authority do you have? Wait. Let me ask you this: do you have authority to represent the taxpayer? Yes or no?
Ask him the question directly. So
I'm asking you a question now. Do you have can you represent the taxpayer? Yes or no?
Well, one, I'm working with someone named, and it's irrelevant to.
No, but I just want to ask your question because see, you're not. Can you answer my question
first? Answer my question, or I'll have. Ask you directly, and then you're out of excuses, and you can either answer.
I'm not going to get in. I'm not going to get in. You wanted my help. I'm not going to get into an argument with you because, you know what I mean. I'm not going to. That's maybe that's why you're not getting the resolution that you're hearing because you just want to get into an argument.
No, I'm asking you a question, and what you're doing is a typical bureaucratic dodge. So you don't have the evidence, so then you're going to reframe the situation into me being difficult and me arguing with you. An argument is a collective series of statements leading to a definite proposition. That's not what you're doing. You're contradicting an argument. They hung up on us.
Wow.